Hi everyone, my name's Emma. Today we are talking about the movie Just Mercy. When it comes to choices and decisions, the ones that we make with more intention will help us create the world that we want to live in. So we talk about here on this channel, how can we take our power back by making better choices and decisions? Bryan Stevenson is chronicled through Just Mercy, and it is based off of his memoir, Just Mercy, A Story of Justice and Redemption. He graduated from Harvard as a lawyer, and he wanted to help death row inmates from escaping their fate that was unjustly served. He helped over 140 death row inmates and is continuing to help through his initiative, the Equal Justice Initiative. He has helped reverse, relieve, or release inmates from these daunting and devastating sentences, many of them unjustly accused. In 1989, William McMillan, nicknamed Johnny D, was accused of murdering a white woman. He was unfairly accused and unfairly committed, and he spent the next 6 years on death row awaiting his sentencing, while Bryan Stevenson was able to finally get him the right trial, the trial that set him free. Bryan Stevenson has been able to do that for multiple people, but for some, he was unable to help. In Alabama, since 1983, 65 people have been executed. Many of them did not have adequate legal assistance or representation. Death row is a sentencing that can almost not be reversed, but Bryan Stevenson stepped in and he was able to prove that justice does prevail. And one of the other stories in the movie was of Ray Hinton, who was accused of a double homicide in 1986. And then in 2015, he was finally released nearly 30 years later for a crime he did not commit. Now, there is nothing that American can do to give them their time back. But we need to understand their stories and listen to what has happened and be present with this information and understand how long this injustice has been happening and how it continues to happen. 2015 was when he was released. That was just a few short years ago. There's many more on death row and many who are in jail for reasons that they shouldn't be, unjustly accused and unjustly sentenced. The 13th Amendment is what has continued to let this happen. In the 13th Amendment, and we will talk about that documentary in this month as well, but it states that nobody should be used for free labor unless they are imprisoned. The prison system then took off and started incarcerating more and more people, oftentimes for reasons that they shouldn't be there, and for made-up reasons as well. And Bryan Stevenson has created a legacy working to right these wrongs. And as a nation, we have failed people over and over again. And we need to understand that not knowing what is going on, believing that it didn't happen, believing racism is part of America's history and not something that affects everyone today, is a lie. It is something that isn't true, and the more we buy into this, that everything is fine, everything is okay, it is us lying to ourselves and saying that these people do not deserve adequate lives that are free and that are just. I encourage you to watch this movie. It was very eye-opening. There is a book as well. We'll be talking about that book later on as well. But I really wanted to make this a point that what is happening has been happening for a long time. Racism is not a part of America's history. It is built into the foundation, and it continues to affect people every single day, every single moment of their lives. And knowing these stories, being present with them, accepting that this has happened, and understanding that we can move forward, but only if we know what is happening, then we can, as a nation, heal and overcome. But until that happens, until people are actually served with equality, with justice, with the ability to stand up for themselves, with the ability to be tried fairly, those words in the Constitution will never be true. And as an America that once was, we can choose to create America into a story that is actually upholding of the freedoms that was guaranteed when the Constitution was written. We'll go into a great deal of the history of America, but this was a really important movie to start off with. This was made in 2019. Ray Hinton was released in 2015. And without awareness of what is going on, we will never be able to move forward as a country. And until we acknowledge what is happening, until we all can look at the history of what was and how it is affecting today, we can never truly move forward. But I know that it exists, this ability to overcome, this ability to achieve justice and peace. It exists. And though we cannot give their time back, there is no one who can give Ray Hinton his 30 years or William McMillan his 6 years, and for all of those whose lives were taken, there's nothing we can do now. But what we can do is to actually and actively work to make sure that the injustice ends with us, that it ends here. That yes, we inherited this story of America, but we get to choose right now which direction it continues. If we stay silent, if we stay in the shadows, if we stay not knowing what's going on, the story of injustice will continue. But choose to have these uncomfortable conversations, choose to watch these movies and learn these lessons and read the books and talk to people and see what's going on. See what is being hidden from you. A great deal of what's going on, I didn't know. I wasn't taught in school. And the thing is, if we are trusting that somebody else will do this, it won't happen. That is the worst thing that we can do, to believe that somebody else will do it for us. So we all need to empower ourselves, have these uncomfortable conversations, look at this information, because only with knowing we can do something. And together, all of us can create that world that we want to see. A world where there is no more lives taken, there is no more unjust sentencing, there is no more 30 years lost, there is no more lives lost. There is only moving forward and acceptance. That life is only as accurate as the choices we get to make, and to choose to look at what is going on will empower us to create this world that we imagine, that we someday hope for. It can start today. It can start right now. Go watch this movie, watch the other videos I'll post down below. Get uncomfortable as often and as much as you can, because only then we can grow. Only then we can grow ourselves in this world into the place that we actually want to live in. These men did not choose this life for them. They inherited a story of inequality, and that is not something that any of us can necessarily change individually. But collectively, and by choosing individual action that stands in line with our actual morals and beliefs, we can create this world. And we can make sure that there is no more William McMillans or Ray Hintons in this world. But it starts with us, starts with me and you, sitting here having a conversation, looking at what is happening and accepting that this can no longer be the story of America. The choice is yours. It always has been. I hope you got something out of today's video, and I hope you join me for the rest of this month. But until then, I hope that you do have an amazing day.